everybody. So we're back again with another lecture that is brain and language. Brain has a very unique presentation of language in it. But before proceeding to that, we're going to see how speech works. First of all, a person who formulates a sentence in its brain sends the message through motor nerves into the articulators, who then, with the process of articulation, send the message to the listener's ear. The ear then sends the stimuli through sensory nerves into the brain, where the message is interpreted. Simple, right? But that's not very simple when it comes to this. This is a diagram of brain. This is the lateral view of brain. Well, the brain is divided into two hemispheres, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. The left hemisphere is the dominant hemisphere, which eventually controls the right part of your body. This is the lateral view of the brain. As you can say it in easy terms, that is the sideway view of the brain. As you can see, the red part, it is labeled as frontal lobe. The blue part is labeled as parietal lobe. The green part is occipital lobe. And the dull yellow color part is the temporal lobe. The bright yellow parts are some structures that are corpus callosum, the midbrain, pons, and spinal cord. Each of these parts has distinct functions. As you can see here, these lobes are distinctively divided. The frontal lobe and the parietal lobe are divided by the central sulcus. That is the red part and the blue part. The superior part of the brain is divided or separated with the inferior part of the brain through a lateral sulcus. The frontal lobe is mainly for thinking, memory, or behavior movements. That is the red part. The yellow part, the temporal lobe, is for hearing, learning, and feelings. The occipital lobe is for sight. The parietal lobe is for language and touch. The cerebellum is for balance and coordination, whereas the brainstem, that is the purple part, is for breathing, heart rate, and temperature control. But I would like to add here that frontal lobe also contains the function of language as well as the temporal lobe. Well, this is the diagram that depicts the language areas in the brain. The line that is coming here, or the division, as you can see, this is central sulcus. It is dividing the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe. The green area over here, it's the Broca's area. That is mainly doing the function of formulation of language or forming sentences. Over here, the purple part, which is in the temporal lobe, here is auditory cortex. With this, there is Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area is very significant when it comes to understanding language. And along with this, there is primary cortex area, visual cortex area, and angular gyrus. These two areas are important for reading and writing. So whenever there is a lesion in these specific areas, there is certain set of clinical characteristics that come or that are seen or observed. These will be discussed in further lectures. As you can see, the red fiber over here, this red fiber is sort of connecting the Wernicke's area with the Broca's area. And these fibers are known as arcuate fasciculus. These are very significant because if these fibers are damaged somehow, they form a certain type of aphasia that will be discussed in further lectures. Yet again, this is another diagram explaining the language areas of the brain. This sulcus or separation that is coming is known as central sulcus, the arcuate fasciculus, the Wernicke's area, the Broca's area, and the lateral sulcus that divides temporal lobe with the rest of the brain. So how does language works in the brain? First of all, the signals are received in the sensory part of the brain. That can be the primary somatic sensory cortex that might receive touch, symbols like the braille system if a person is using. The primary visual cortex receives the writing or the written message. The primary auditory area receives the auditory message. All of these signals are then conveyed to the posterior speech areas, including Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area interprets the message, and then with the help of arcuate fasciculus, it sends the message to the Broca's area. The Broca's area, when it receives the interpreted message, formulates a response, and then it gives it to the primary motor area or the primary motor cortex, that is the red area, which then again commands the articulators of the mouth to give back the response. So, I wanted to add something here. I told you that brain is a little different when it comes to language. As you know that there is a counterpart of every function or system in both hemispheres. But language is only present in the dominant hemisphere. That is, if the person is right-handed, his language will be in the left hemisphere. So there is a brain teaser for you all. What will happen if the person is left-handed? What do you think? What will happen to the language areas of that brain? So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any queries regarding this lecture, write it down in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions or topic you want us to discuss, let us know. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.